Bomboloni. They're donuts and we're stuffing them with Nutella. You're welcome. So, Bomboloni. Well, that's at least how I think it's pronounced. If I pronounced it wrong, I'm sorry. That is what we're making today. Bomboloni is a special Italian style donut. The great thing about them is that they're so easy to make and you can fill them with basically anything. The most common fillings people use is jam or custard. Today we're doing Nutella, as you can tell from the title of this video. And who doesn't like Nutella, right? Nutella's delicious. A fun fact I just found out is that Bomboloni roughly translates to bomb, here and there. Some references say it resembles a grenade, but I'm not too sure it resembles a grenade as such. I'm more leaning towards a caloric bomb, you could say, because there must be like 600 calories in one of these things. Pretty mad. The way I look at it is if you close your eyes when you're eating one of these things, the calories cease to exist because you're not acknowledging them. You never acknowledge negativity. Sometimes you just need to eat a donut. Alright then, let's make some Bombolonis. So the first thing we've got to do is activate our yeast. So here I've got 120 milliliters of whole milk heated to 35 degrees Celsius. Now sprinkle in 7 grams of fast active yeast, then give it a mix and lightly cover it with some cling film and let it sit at room temperature for about 5 to 10 minutes to allow it to activate. The way to know that the yeast is nice and active and ready to use is that it will go frothy and bubbly on the surface. Now in a bowl of your stand mixer, combine together 280 grams of bread flour, which is strong flour by the way, 280 grams of 00 flour, which is an ultra fine Italian flour, which will make your donuts super light. If you can't find this, just substitute it with all-purpose flour, but try best to find it, it will make your donuts that little bit better. Along with 100 grams of caster sugar, then last but not least, a generous pinch of salt, around 2 grams worth. Now give it a quick mix. I just use my hand because it's easy. You don't want to use your hand. If you want to use a whisk or spoon, feel free to do so. Now to the dry ingredients, you're going to add in 90 grams of unsalted butter, which I've cut into cubes. Just dot it nice and evenly spaced apart on top of the flour, just so that the butter incorporates into the dough evenly. Then literally right after that, you're going to crack in 2 whole eggs, 1 to 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Then finally the yeast and milk mixture. Just pour it in. Now get your dough attachment and attach that to your stand mixer, and you're going to mix that over low speed until it first starts to form a dough. Then you can increase the speed to medium and mix it until it forms a nice smooth elastic dough and it comes away from the edges nicely. Now transfer the dough to your bench. You don't need to add any more flour at this stage. And now you're just going to give it a quick knead just so you're able to shape it into a nice tight round ball. And then just place it into a large lightly greased bowl and lightly cover with some cling film and let it prove room temperature for 3 hours. You want the dough to have tripled in volume. Now once the dough is tripled in volume, carefully release it from the edge of the bowl and place it onto your work surface. You don't need to add any excess flour at this stage at all. Now just gently knock the dough back, just knead it a few times and form it back into a circle. Then you want to roll it out into a large rectangle about ½ an inch deep. Now the next step, you're going to get yourself a 3-inch cookie cutter and cut out your donuts. You probably get about 12 to 13 donuts using this size cookie cutter. If you want to make them smaller, you will obviously get more donuts. I'm going to leave that up to you. It's your choice. But to be honest, these donuts did end up enormous. So you might want to make it a bit smaller. Now you're going to place the donuts on the individual sheets of parchment paper, which I've cut out into squares. That just makes it a bit easier to fry without burning yourself. And lightly cover with some cling film and prove at room temperature for about 1.5 to 2 hours until almost double in size and nicely puffed up. Now fill a pan with some vegetable oil and heat it up to 170 degrees Celsius. Use a frying thermometer or a candy thermometer like I'm using here. Links in the description. Once the pan comes up to temperature, carefully lower 1 to 2 donuts into the oil. If your pan isn't as big as mine, don't overcrowd it. Just cook 1 donut at a time. Once the donuts are in the pan, get yourself a pair of tongs and remove the non-stick parchment paper. And you want to cook the donuts for about 2 to 3 minutes either side. You want it nice and golden brown on both sides. And that's basically it. That's how you make Bombolonis. You just simply repeat this whole process for the remaining donuts. But this next step is very important if you want sugar-coated donuts, which, let's be honest, majority of people do. Once you cook them and they're allowed to drain on some kitchen roll for about 2 minutes, to get rid of any excess oil so the donuts don't go soggy and greasy. And then whilst they're still warm, you're going to toss them in the sugar. You need the donuts to be warm for the sugar to actually stick to the donut. And then once the donuts are cooled down, you're ready to fill your donuts with whatever you want. All you do is get yourself a cocktail stick, poke a hole in the side, making sure it goes all the way to the center. And then fill out a pastry bag with some Nutella or the filling of your choice. And then stick the nozzle of the pie bag right inside the donut and start filling it up. And the way to know when the donut is full is that the filling will start to push the pie bag out of the donut and it will start to come out the side. And then you made them, you've done it, you've made Nutella stuffed Bomboloni donuts. These donuts will last in an airtight container for up to 1 to 2 days. Just to let you know. So that's it. We made Bomboloni, or Bomboloni. I'm still a bit unsure how you actually pronounce it. But one thing I do know for certain is that these taste great. If you've never tried to make a Bomboloni before, give them a go. Give them a shot. There was a lot of donuts left over from this recipe. So what I recommend, get your friends and family over. Or even take them to a party if you're going to a party. Because these, my friends, are really rich and extremely sickly. And by the way, like all donuts, the best of the day make them, so I wouldn't leave them too long. But anyway guys, if you enjoyed today's video and you learned something, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.